Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I apologize I did not come see you last week. We spent the time that I usually am filming preparing for a hurricane. Thankfully, it did not do much damage here, but as you all know by now, it's just really, it's terrible what has happened from Florida all the way up to the Carolinas and Tennessee and all of that. So you guys know how I have chickens and ducks, and we just had to make sure all of that was really secure. And because you just never know, even though we are in Orlando, we get a lot of wind. We did lose our mailbox, which is, nothing compared to what some people lost, but we have a lot of trees that go down. We're on the water, so we did get quite an absorbent amount of water. But anyway, so I was busy doing that, and then we had family visiting us from Ireland, so we were kind of here, there, and everywhere, and in the midst of, we had no school, just in case the hurricane hit. They did cancel school for us on Thursday, and so it was just a lot. But I'm here now, and we're gonna talk about what sold the last 2 weeks of September. So the 15th through the 30th, which was yesterday. I had some okay sales. I will say, if you have any Halloween costumes, get them listed. I made that a priority over the last few days, and they are selling like within the day I'm listing them. So some of them are brand new, as you'll see. Some are not in the best shape. All right, we are going to kick it off with an eBay sale. This is something outside of my wheelhouse. I'm trying to stretch myself a little bit. It was these water babies. They were vintage, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. I did have $6.18 into them from a local Goodwill, but they sold within a few days of listing on eBay for $51, and they left me the nicest message that the woman who purchased them, her daughter has been searching for them for her daughter because she had them when she was little. So I love hearing stories like that. So that was a great little flip for me. I made a profit of $28.62. This LL Bean cotton slub knit sweater, I picked it up recently from a church sale for $2, and it sold on Poshmark for $23. I will say I do use Posture VA to cross-list my items. I also use Posture VA to send out offers. Typically I do 20%, but I do not offer discounted shipping anymore, and I feel like I'm getting the same amount of sales since that became an option. Now, sometimes I get a counter offer for $2 or $3 less, and I typically do accept that for people that are used to having a shipping discount, but I love it. All right, this Land's End snowflake dress, this came out of my daughter's closet. It sold on Kidizen for $10. This is a bins item. I have been selling a lot of bins items because I've been going to the bins more so than regular stores. And this was a new with the tags Casa Cabana top. I'd never heard of the brand, but it was new and it felt nice. And it sold on eBay for $24. You guys know I take a lot of kids stuff from ThredUp boxes and go trade at Once Upon a Child for items that are going to sell for more money for me. So these Hannah Anderson pajamas, I traded, so I used trade credits, $5 worth to pick these up, and they sold on Kidizen also for $28. Kidizen's kind of come to life for me in the last month, which is great. So I do have a discount code down below for $5 off your first purchase on Kidizen. If you haven't downloaded it before, you can find some really great deals. There's a lot of just moms and dads selling their kids' clothes, and they're not really in it for profit. They just rather sell them there than donate them. And I buy a lot of personal use items, especially women's items that people really just are trying to get rid of and underpriced. So head out over there. And if you have List Perfectly, which I also have a discount code, cross-list your women's and kids items to Kidizen. It does not take that much extra time. And hey, a sale every now and then is better than not, right? All right, this is the brand Tiny Whales. You guys know I like to tell you about kind of obscure kids brands. Like, I used to use the word boutique a lot, but then, Wish and Shein and Temu and all that kind of now are also called boutique. But before that, boutique was like small shop brands like Tiny Whales. And this shirt sold on Mercari for $16.20. This was another recent pickup from the same day as those water babies. The brand is Triangle with no E before the L. This was a two-piece bikini, velvet velour. It was not new with the tags. And I don't typically pick up bathing suits unless they're brand new, but I knew this was a good brand. Sold very quickly on Poshmark for $39. I also had about $6 into it because I averaged my cost of goods that day. I love when things like this happen. You guys know, as I'm going through my death pile diaries, I am creating bins of items to take to Plato's, Style Encore, Clothes Mentor, Once Upon a Child. just to offload it. I've got too much right now in my garage. I am making progress, but I usually will take a whole tote in and I will leave with maybe 3 or 4 items. This day I went to Plato's. I left with, I think, 2 items. If you watched that video, a little keychain for my daughter and this pair of Birkenstock black patent strappy. They were brand new. And I did trade for $20, but hey, I traded stuff that's been sitting in my garage collecting dust. Not really, they had lids, but so I really didn't have any money into these. It was just a trade. And they sold on Mercari same day for my full asking price of $96. And you know, on Mercari, they do not take fees anymore. So minus my cost of goods, I still made $76. Awesome sale. This Gap velvet tiered little girl's dress. I did pay for this from Gap, but it's one of those times I used a ThredUp Gap partner kit credit. I still miss those. I miss them so much. So I really had nothing into it. I would send ThredUp only the leftovers and stuff that was already not accounted for anymore in my cost of goods. And it sold on Poshmark for $15. Another Once Upon a Child pickup to when I did a trade, the brand Sweet Honey, I know I talk about often. This was a adorable gingham pinafore style dress and it sold within a week of posting as well. I had $4 into it. It sold on Poshmark for $25. Pottery Barn kids costumes, always a pickup. This one sold also within 24 hours of listing. Picked up at Once Upon a Child on a trade. I got a lot of items. I believe it was in my last video that you guys saw everything that I picked up. Sold on Mercari also for $32. So just when I think Mercari is like a bust, I make full price sales on there. So I still will continue listing to Mercari. These J. Crew blue wedge wedges. These came from the bins. I had $2.41 into them. Sold on eBay for $33. Another eBay sale. These little kids Sorel blue snow boots. Also a Once Upon a Child trade for me. And when we find snow boots, they're always in like new condition. They sold for $35. This was something, you know, I don't typically pick up baby items to sell, but sometimes if something's cute enough. This was a Disney Moana outfit. It was adorable, as you will see here. It actually sold pretty quickly. Another Once Upon a Child flip. I had $2 into it. Sold for $12 on Poshmark, but it was such an easy listing and it brought me joy to list it, which means it wasn't gonna land in a death pile. So I'll take my $9.05. This Lululemon Power Y tank. I probably didn't need to pick this up from Goodwill. I've had it listed for about 4 months. I did pay $5 for it. It sold eventually for $22 and it probably only sold for that much because it still had the pads and it was a size 12. So bigger size Lululemon in my experience tends to sell faster. Not this one, but for a little more money. These Free People wide leg flare pull-on pants. I did pick these up back in March. So I've had them listed for a while. I had $4.80 into them from a local mom and pop thrift store. They did sell on Poshmark for $30. So still a decent flip, just took a while. Another bins item, these Hannah Anderson women's Frosty the Snowman pajama pants. So just the pants, I had $1 into them. They sold on Mercari for $14. This was the cutest little item and a lot of you guys commented and let me know over on Instagram you didn't even know they made kids clothes. Now you do. For Love and Lemons has a kids line called Lil Lemons. And this adorable bathing suit I picked up at Goodwill. I had $5 into it. Sold for $28 on Poshmark really quickly in the month of September. I mean, here you guys, yesterday it was 94 degrees. We are in the middle of summer still down here in Florida. I sold these. It reminded me of Hawaii. If you have been following along, while I was in Hawaii back in May for a wedding, I did go to a Goodwill. I picked up this pair of Sorel sneakers and they sold on Poshmark for $40 and they left me such a sweet little love note saying that they were in even better shape than they thought and they love them. So yay, that made my thrifting trip in Hawaii. I had $12 into them. Their shoes were a little expensive, but that made it worth it. They came all the way home with me. These, I sold a lot of items from, I went to the Goodwill on August 22nd, it appears, and I had a $6.18 average cost of goods that day, and I bought a lot. And it's all selling. So I'd love to see that. I do kind of know what to pick up and what not to pick up. These joggers though, I did pick up for myself, but I know in the video I showed you guys, they looked like maternity pants on me. They were not cute. Hopefully the person who bought them, they look much better on them than they did on me. It was this pair of Athleta Salutation joggers, and they sold for $25. This Disney Parks, brand new with the tags, Spirit jersey, but it was that lightweight t-shirt material, the ones that I personally love the most. I had $3 into it from Once Upon a Child, but honestly, anytime I have something that I purchased at Once Upon a Child, there is a 99% chance that it was a trade and I didn't actually pay out of pocket. And that also sold on Poshmark for $25. These Bogs kid boots I had listed for about a day. I had $4 into them from Goodwill. And I just picked these up like 2 weeks ago when my daughter was at youth group. I ran to a Goodwill next door. They sold for $39.50. A lot of Hannah Anderson this go around. This was just a pajama top. I have had it listed for a long time because I got it in a kid's box after Christmas, and it had 75 cents into it, and it sold for $10 on Poshmark, which was an offer sent to me, so I was very happy to accept. It also had a flaw. I sold another one of these Danielle Nicole Hufflepuff backpacks. I had $5 into it from a local sale, sold on Poshmark for $25. This was a brand called The Get. I'd never heard of it before, but it's sold at Walmart, but this was a really cute dress. I had $1.50 into it from a thread up box, and it sold for $20 on Posh. This was the day, September the 26th, I listed several costumes that I had found in my death pile. I had $1 into this costume. It was a Star Wars tunic. You'll see the picture. It sold within an hour or so of listing on eBay for my full asking price of $54. I sold a Lululemon pink striped tank top, also on Kidizen, and it sold for $22.45. And I know I've been sending offers for like $10 on Poshmark, so that was great. I have had that listed for a long time. That was part of a consignment I was doing for a friend over a year ago, and so the items that are left are just now in my inventory, so I had nothing into that. This Aiden and Anais Harry Potter little sleeper thing, I said this won't sell for much, but it brought me joy and I loved it, which means I came home and listed it. I love Harry Potter. And Goodwill had it priced at $3.99, which was probably a lot, but it sold on Poshmark for $14. So even after all of the fees, I made $7.05, which, hey, that's like a dozen eggs right now, right? Which my chickens, I haven't showed you guys them in a while. I do post them on my Instagram stories if you'd like to follow me over there. That's mostly almost all my personal life. There is some reselling in there. But they are 17 weeks old right now, and I have 2 olive eggers that sometimes start laying as early as 16 weeks. So y'all know every day I'm looking. Please, please, please give me some eggs, hopefully soon for the rest of them. All right, this Ralph Lauren little girl's red flag pullover also came from the bin, so I had about $1 into it. Sold on Poshmark for $18. Another costume I had $1 into. I bought a bunch of costumes at a local sale back in March and just listed them last week. This was a Leia costume from Disney Parks. It was super heavy. It was like 4 pounds. It was missing the belt, which, I mean, to me, I guess you could make one. Her belt is very much like part of the costume. It has a very unique look to it. But anyway, it sold the day I listed, and the person messaged me and thanked me and was very excited to receive it. It sold on Mercari for $65. Great sale. So I made a $64 profit on that. These A New Day black floral tights. I technically lost money. I got them in a fun box and sold them for $7. So I recorded my cost of goods for that box as $5, but usually I have some sort of credits, but I lost 95 cents on those. If you're being, it's fine. They're gone. Another item from that $6.18 cost of goods Goodwill day. This was great. I literally came home and listed everything that I purchased within a day or two, and almost all those items have sold. So that's what keeps me going, and eventually I will get through all of these old items that are stuck in my inventory. But this was a Nest Plus Nurture Pinafore. I'd never heard of it. I think the brand is from Canada. It was really great condition. Sold on Poshmark for $20, yes. And it was a little girl's, I think, size 14. I'll never pick up this style of dance goes again because these took a year. Yeah. I bought them on September the 1st of 2023. They were a trade though from Clothes Mentor, so trading in ThredUp items, and I had $12 into them. They finally sold on Poshmark for $40. They were kind of like the Crocs or Sanita clogs style. I even was sending half off offers. So this was I was very thankful for this sale. I love it when you've been sending up to 50% off and somebody comes in and buys it at 20% off. So $32 profit was not terrible, but it took a really long time. So I guess people that prefer dance goes do not prefer the nursing look. All right, this another costume. This Disney Parks Buzz costume came from the same sale. I had $1 into this one, but it was, I don't think it had ever been worn before. Excellent condition. It had all the parts and pieces. There was gloves, there was a head thing. Super cool. A little kid's size 4, sold on Poshmark for my full asking price of $40. I do have my Posher VA set to not send offers for the first 24 hours, just in case I underprice something or list something really cool. People come in and pay full price. That does happen quite often. So just a tip, if you're using Posher VA, I do have that feature turned on. And then like today, or I haven't turned it back on, but the end of the month, so yesterday I had my Posher VA offer part. It still shares my closet every 3 hours. The offer part I had turned off because I wanted to send, I didn't want 20% offers sent on everything. There may be old items. I wanted to send 30, 40, up 50% off. So the last couple of days of the month when I'm trying to reach my goal, I do tend to turn it off and just pay more attention to my phone to manually send offers. All right, 3 more sales to close out the month of September. This Reebok purple pullover sweatshirt also came from that consignment sale from my friend that never sold within the first year I had it listed for her. Sold for $10. It had a huge bleach stain on it. So I assume they can use it for a project. This was the first consignment I did for her. I've done 2 more since then, and I kind of felt obligated to list everything. This go around, I would not have listed that item, but I made $6.05. All right, this Disney Belle costume, another costume. This came out of my daughter's bedroom, and so I had nothing into it. Sold for this was in play condition. This is what I wanted to tell you guys. Even if you have like little kids, I never bought the cheapy ones, like from Walmart or Target. This was a Disney Parks costume, so they're just more well made. But this one had some snags. It had a whole section like this big of missing glitter, had some stains on the apron, but this was the costume where she's singing and her blue dress. So you don't see it as often as you see the gold dress that she wears. So anyway, this sold within a day of listing, actually within like 30 minutes of listing. I had it listed for $12. So they sent me a $10 offer, but on Mercari, I knew I was gonna make $10, which is more than I would have made on Posh had I sent the 20% offer on 12. So I took it, made 10 bucks, and that dress was in, I wouldn't call it poor condition, but Once Upon a Child would not have purchased it. So if I have good brand kids items that even Once Upon a Child won't purchase, I will list them because there is a market for play condition or used, worn in kids clothes if the brand is right. All right, and the last one, just like this item, this was a mini Bowden blue striped button-up shirt. I did purchase this in a bundle on Poshmark a while ago. I had $5.46 into it. It did have a stain on the back that was not disclosed, but I hate it when you buy a bundle on Poshmark and there's like an issue with one of the items because you have to send everything back. I know now they do have a partial refund offer, but anyway, so I just kept it. It ended up selling for $12. So I still made $3.59, which wasn't terrible, but that was it. Those were my sales for the last 2 weeks of September. I am really happy with them. It's better than the first half of September, and the more I list, the more I'm selling, which is how it goes, right? So I hope to have another video out for you guys on Friday. I did go to the bins yesterday and already took some stuff to Once Upon a Child, and it was a great time with my friend. And the video for this Friday is probably going to be, I got a mystery box for you guys, and I am trying to get those items listed before the video comes out because I want to be able to share the screenshots of my actual listings. All right, guys, I appreciate you so much. Let me know in the comments how your sales are going, and happy October. Hopefully we get some fall weather soon. All right, guys, see you next time.